So the car, just from sitting there on its own weight, made it buckle. Casey first brought the car to us. Actually, I didn't even know about the car until the day before it arrived. They had talked with a couple other guys on if they wanted to do it. And I was kind of brought in on like a last leg, maybe if I want to just help out and just kind of do little things here and there, just kind of help the other guys. And then it actually got kind of turned around. And I'm the one that actually really saw it through, took the lead on it, really made sure it was straight and perfect. When we got the car, we looked it over probably for a good hour. We found out that it was probably more than what we should have taken on. But like I said, we didn't know that COVID was going to hit or it was going to hit that bad. It really affected us. The car kept getting pushed back and pushed back. I really wanted to work with Genius Garage because I saw it as an opportunity of once in a lifetime. Once we got the car apart and then saw how it was actually made, that's when we figured out it was going to be bigger than we thought. Because I'd never worked on a movie car before. I mean, I've worked with fiberglass a long time. I've done a lot of body kits. When we got the fiberglass off the car and turned it over and looked at it, it was not production fiberglass. It was just rough cut, very, very minimal, just to make it look decent from afar. It was never meant to get up close and personal, to be straight at all. The front bumper, you saw it coming out of the airplane when it hit the ground and it just shattered. We found out that we had to make brackets and support brackets on the sides, on the rear. Like we did like a whole cage in the rear off the strut towers just to make it so it would hold. I'm surprised when Casey drove that car on the track, I'm surprised it didn't come apart. The panels were just basically hanging on the car. It was fiberglass to fiberglass. There was no metal to metal. There was no brackets holding the rear bumper up or nothing. And we just kind of shook our heads and was like, well, we're in it now. Let's make the best of it. The quality on the outside, you could see that it was cracking already, which is a big problem with fiberglass because once it starts, it doesn't stop. Unless you usually have to drill a hole, get the crack to stop from forming, keep going. And that's the only way to stop them. And there was cracks all over the car, everywhere. The roof was really bad. The hood was really bad. The front bumper was a mess. The rear bumper wasn't that bad. Quarter panels weren't that bad. But where they had mounted it almost like makes a stress point for other panels. Like if you put the quarter panels on, there's a stress point in the rear bumper, unless you have it supported, which there was no supports. So that kind of quality fiberglass with no support, no nothing like that, it makes the cracks worse. And then when we found out that the car was basically butterflying in the back. What I mean by that is that when the car sat on its wheels and under its own weight, it's a rear engine car, well, mid engine, but the weight of the engine is actually making the car sink in the center. So there was no cross member section. There was no roll bar. Only the roll bar that was back there was the mounting piece for the quarter panels. And it went down into like the bulkhead on the rear. But they had cut away most of the bulkhead. They only left the main structure piece, which isn't enough. You have to have inner quarters, rear body panel, all that really takes an effect on how strong it makes the car. When you take that away, it really makes the car just a piece of sheet metal at that point. We took roll bar tubing from an actual race car, one of our cup cars that was totaled. It just got into a rollover accident, and the customer thought it would be better if we just went ahead and did a whole new tub. So we took the roll bar, the down tubes that went to the rear strut towers, and we welded it all the way up to his cage that they made for the car. And that really helped. When we found it, I was just sitting behind the car one day and I'm like, there's something wrong. What's going on with this thing? Me and Chris, the guy from the first video, manager from our first video, we were just sitting there looking at it. I said, there's no structure back here. I bet you it's making the whole car move. So we jacked the car up and you could see that the bulkhead kept bending. We didn't know why. So I tapped it up. The next day it came in, it was bent back down again. So the car, just from sitting there on its own weight, made it buckle. So when we added that extra structure, it definitely helped. We've never done a movie car before. So, but I've seen cars. I've seen movie cars. I've been up close to movie cars. When they don't take the time to make it right, it's just like laying siding. If you don't start as a level from the very beginning, you get to the top and you have a huge gap on one side and it's neat, nice and neat on the other side. And Casey knows this, and they actually did a very good job on mending the car back together. I will say they did a very nice job putting the car back together. It almost made it look factory on the underside. It really did. They did a nice job. But when the movie guys, they don't care. They don't care about if the car is going to survive. They're just going to trash it anyways. They want it done quick, as fast as they can do it and as best as they can do it. And then they can just CGI it, or they can just add color, or they can do anything in the movies. That really makes our job harder, because once it starts cracking, like the roof, we actually had to use marine fiberglass, really, really tight woven squares. It's made for boats and jet skis for their hull. So it's got to be strong, and it's really thick. And we probably added an extra 4 or 5 pounds to the roof because we did the whole roof in one piece. We didn't chop it up and make sections. We cut out one massive section of this stuff. Me and one other guy, Alan, spent probably 3 or 4 days just making sure the roof was good, because it just kept cracking. And once it starts, it's never going to stop. It's going to keep going until it gets to the edge. And it was a challenge. I want to say the hood too was also a challenge, because that takes a lot of flex in the front of the car. So once the car is just moving around at all, it'll flex and crack, and it was pretty bad. The only way we got it to stop cracking was thicken the fiberglass on both sides and strengthen the crack points, mainly the places that it's going to crack the easiest. So we'll strengthen those with carbon fiber, which we used different type of carbon fiber. We don't use like a vacuum method, like traditional carbon fiber. We'll just use it basically like fiberglass. We use a resin, and we just don't get the air bubbles out. It just doesn't make it as strong, but it makes it stronger than fiberglass. So when we use that on the stress points, like in the rear quarters, some of the roof section, we use carbon fiber, and a lot of the roof is carbon fiber, and a lot of the hood was also carbon fiber. You could see on the inside, we actually covered it up, because, carbon fiber looks really, really pretty, but when you do it like this, it doesn't make it look so pretty. So we just did the whole underside of the hood all in carbon fiber to make it stronger, and then we just painted it black. It was fun to use it. It was fun to use carbon fiber. I've used it before, but it's very expensive. It's very, very expensive. Just to get even a roll of it, it's very expensive. So I think he brought us the car in March. From March to December, had about 1,000 hours in it. And then it was mostly nights and weekends. But after, when we found out that Casey needed the car back. It was getting pretty long, and the car wasn't even nearly to be completed yet. So we stepped it up. I brought a couple more guys in, and I probably did just by myself 300 to 350, 100 hours just between beginning of January to when the car left. I think it was the end of February is when the car left. It was actually pretty funny, because a couple nights, Kurt, our boss, he also races in Porsche Carrera Cup. He'd come in 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd just be working away 3 o'clock in the morning, and he'd come in and just scare the crap out of me. I don't think he meant to, but that's what it takes. And I don't think a lot of people know that. They see, Chip Foose in an hour show, take a car, and that's, oh yeah, we're here a week. We can make this thing gorgeous in a week. Well, that takes a team of guys, and that takes months of work just to make it look that good. So I spent a lot of time on this car, not because I had to. Casey just wanted basic, nice looking race car. And I wanted to make it a lot more than that, because it was a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. And that I knew that it wasn't going to come around again. So I wanted to make it as best as I could, even like with the little things, like with the carbon fiber door handles, little touches like that under the hood. We really focused on making it, because we knew the hood's going to be up. It was really rough under there. We smoothed it out, made it really nice underneath. And little things just like that, like the pull handles, like Casey mentioned in the video, on the inside of the car, just simple stuff like that really make a difference. Making the windshield trim pieces, making them all one piece, because they were two pieces. And I think they were broke. That took 4 days. That took 4 days just in that. The third brake light in the rear of the car. I got pictures of it, and it was a mess. And that took me about a week just in the third brake light alone to make it look all nice in one piece. So it takes a lot more time than to just a couple days or a couple hours. Or no, it takes a tremendous amount of time to make stuff look right and make it straight. And if it's not, the end result is not good. The last few months of the build, we really stepped up and we really put our heads together. We really grinded it and made sure it was right. Like the front bumper alone, it took me a week and a half just on the front bumper. And the front bumper wasn't even done a week before Casey came and picked up the car. It was that much of a crunch for time frame. And when Casey called us, I think it was January, we had like a meeting with him over the phone. He said, I need the car back. And it was pretty funny because I don't think he realized what the car was going to be when he picked it up. Because when he came in, it was never on the video. He sat there and stared at that car for 20 minutes. Just stared at it. He was in awe. And that makes me feel good because I've got so much time in that car. My hands are on everything on that car. And I was very proud to see someone like him who's been in racing pretty much his whole life, been around cars his whole life, and just sit there and just stare at something that I did and that the guys did. Our paint team put a finish on that car. It was amazing. And Aaron, one of the painters, Aaron and Mike, they did a phenomenal job making it the way it is. We did make it easy for them. We did do all the blocking over on our side, and then we brought them the parts so when they just scuffed it and shot it. But still, you got to be talented to lay a paint job like that, and they are. The both of them are. And Aaron hasn't been doing it for very long. He's only been painting a few years. Him and Mike, I mean, Mike's been doing it for a long time, and the way they looked identical. You couldn't tell who painted what. And when I first stepped into the booth, after it was shot, because I was the first one to lay his eyes on it other than the painters, I said, I was in awe. I mean, wow, that looked amazing. It was gorgeous. I mean, we really pride ourselves on to making cars look and drive, and we want them perfect. We don't want them to come back. We don't want anything to happen. We want our reputation is on that car for life. Doesn't matter until the car goes into the crusher. I mean, that's our name. And that's what we pride ourselves on, and that's the result that came out. I was very pleased with it.
Who wants a free carbon fiber ring? Well, right now, Patrick Adair Designs is giving away a free carbon fiber ring with any purchase if you use the code VINwikicF at checkout on their website. You can find them at the link in the description below. You can also follow along on Patrick Adair's YouTube channel. You've seen him here telling car stories, but over there, he documents his journey in entrepreneurism and some of the amazing things they do to create rings out of the most interesting materials from Earth and from space. So check them out now and thank them for their support of VINwiki.